All right, welcome to this week's podcast. It's the Super 8 Cine Society, though we're actually not going to be watching any Super 8 today. We're going to be watching a DVD because it's not available on Blu-ray. And why isn't it available on Blu-ray, this particular film? Because it's one of the worst films ever made. Or is it? This is what we'll find out. And the movie in question is Slapstick of Another Kind, starring Jerry Lewis, Madeline Kahn, and the late, great Marty Feldman. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Miles Flanagan, creator of Hollywood Horror Fest and Boobs and Blood.
I'm Jared. I'm a guy who loves big foreheads, and that's what I'm about.
I'm Nick, longtime friend of Miles, and a horror movie enjoyer and weird movie enjoyer as well.
So, who's heard of this? Anyone heard of this movie before?
Only because of you, you sick bastard.
I've only heard of these people. I've never heard of this movie.
Okay, and then the thing with this movie is, how could you possibly go wrong? It's got an amazing cast. Again, Jerry Lewis, Madeline Kahn, Marty Feldman. It's based on a Kurt Vonnegut book, which I started reading a couple of nights ago. I was hoping to get it finished before the podcast, but I haven't yet. It's a good book. It's really funny. So how could they possibly go wrong? And this is what we'll find out. A little bit of background on this. The director, Stephen Paul, I actually saw him many years ago when I was first starting out in my Hollywood career. I was in some fancy restaurant and the producer I was with said, "Hey, that's Stephen Paul. He's famous for making this really bad movie. It's really awful." And that's the first time I heard of this movie because it stars everyone that I love. Madeline Kahn. I'm a great fan of Lewis and Marty Feldman as well. What are your thoughts on the cast?
I mean, it has Sam Fuller as well, Merv Griffin.
Oh, wow.
Pat Morita, like Jim Backus.
Oh, so, Jim Backus, Mr. Magoo.
Yeah. So it's like, clearly this is going to be a fantastic picture, and I can't imagine how it could be bad.
I know, and even the poster is fantastic. It's a beautifully painted poster with Jerry Lewis and Madeline Kahn, who played twins with large ears and massive Frankenstein sort of foreheads.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, they look great, and it's beautiful. I don't know. I love the poster. We've got the poster up in the Super 8 Cine Society Theatre with the biggest screen known to mankind in the theatre. So I guess, any thoughts before we watch it?
I just have a question. What is the movie about?
Oh.
Okay, do you want to read the blurb on the back?
Sure. Sometime in the future, Caleb and Letitia Swain have given birth to twins who are just a little bit different. They are born at 3 feet tall, and although they behave like 2-year-olds during the day, at night they put their heads together and become perhaps the most intelligent people in the universe. In the privacy of their bedroom, they critique the theory of evolution, rewrite the Constitution of the United States. This is getting in the weeds. I think I know why people don't like this movie. Rewrite the Constitution of the United States and figure out the most important power in the universe, the theory on how to control gravity. When their genius is discovered, every foreign and domestic power will go to any length to capture the twins and their brilliant discoveries based on the novel Slapstick by Kurt Vonnegut. I'm expecting the book the book stands alone by itself, and the movie is just like, hey, here's Hollywood's take on something that they might think everyone would like and buy tickets to.
But Sam Fuller's in this. Wow. Okay.
I'm sure it was easy to get all the actors involved.
If you've got money.
Yeah.
But okay, let's watch the film and then we'll return back with our thoughts on with the film.
Once again, the planet Earth is on the brink of destruction.
Oh, no. No. No, they're not mine. It's been a mistake. Those are Mr. Shellfit's. He ordered those, not me. What's up?
I don't know why they let people as ugly as me reproduce. I should be circumcised.
You mean castrated?
Castrated, right. Yeah, I should be castrated.
Mr. Orson, when you say that China is severing relations with the rest of the world, is that because China is mad at something that somebody did?
Definitely not. You see, the rest of the world has nothing left to offer.
Okay, well, we've just finished watching Slapstick of Another Kind, and spoiler alert, it was quite an ordeal. I guess there's a reason this is unavailable on Blu-ray. Thoughts? Well, I'll go to, I know what Jared thinks. Nick.
Pretty bad. Just the bird's eye view of it. Not even fun to watch, just to laugh at. Just generally boring. Like,
even though you've got Jerry Lewis?
Yeah. Nothing about it was like, there were 2 laughs I got. I could cover those if you want, but you have to watch them in the context of the movie. There's one scene where they put all the military guys in sunglasses, and the context of it was a little funny.
Because it was nighttime.
Yeah. And then, I forget what the other one was. It was like something.
My Fear.
My Fuhrer, yes.
Yeah. Like,
Marty Feldman, wasn't
Marty
it?
Feldman calling the military.
Sam Fuller.
Mr. Sharp, it's Colonel Sharp. Or Sharp. Or Sir.
Or Sir. Sharp.
Yeah. Calling him Mind Fury. I thought that was kind of
Sam Fuller basically doing. What was interesting, Sam Fuller doing Sterling Hayden doing Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And Marty Feldman at that point doing Doctor Strangelove. It was a reference to like Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah. I mean, the whole movie, it just wasn't funny. Like, and I really like Madeline Kahn and Marty Feldman. I'm agnostic about Jerry Lewis. I'm not like a fan. I'm not a fan of him. But yeah, it just fell flat. Like, everything was just, I could see what they would try to do. It just, nothing felt connected. There was no energy. There was no common thread. It felt like it just like was a bunch of scenes that they were like, is this anything? You guys like this? And
Jared?
I don't even know where it was. The Chinese flew in the fucking
the Chinese
fortune cookie.
Okay, explain where the Chinese came in.
All we want to do is just negotiate a little contract for control of gravity.
I mean, none of us. I started reading the book.
Yeah.
So I'm like a third of the way now, like a quarter of the way in. So the idea of the Chinese flying around in a fortune, which is a fortune cookie, which isn't even Chinese. That's an American thing. It was invented in San Francisco.
I'm not sure any of the actors portraying Chinese people were Chinese.
Were there any Chinese actors in it?
I mean, Pat Morita's Japanese, I'm pretty sure. So, there are 3 instances of them making jokes about how Chinese people all look the same.
Are you the same Chinese man or a different one?
You didn't find that funny?
I mean,
ironically funny. The whole film is ironically funny.
Oh, God. I forgot. It was comedy.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
That's right.
It's just boring.
Yeah, that was the problem, wasn't it? Yeah.
Fucking boring.
Yeah, I got on my phone.
We all got on our phones.
Yeah. I will say this.
How does our essay on gravity begin again?
With an apple hitting Sir Isaac Newton on the head.
It's a damn good poster.
Oh, the poster's fantastic.
The
best part of the
fantastic.
movie.
Yeah.
Best part.
I would kill over that poster. I would fight for a really good full-size French Grand poster of that.
Nice work, Slapstick marketing department.
But wasn't it a waste, like Marty Feldman's character as the butler, who's basically meant to look after the twins, played by Madeline Kahn and Jerry Lewis, but yet didn't do anything.
Everything was a waste.
Yeah, there was no development of the characters. Like, they had arcs just because, like, stuff would happen. Like, at one moment, they were acting dumb on purpose to, like, because that's what all humans do. But then they were intelligent, and then they were dumb once again. And I guess that was because they weren't together, but it's very clunky. Like, it wasn't, I don't feel like it was well edited. Like, the jokes didn't land.
Like, they're acting dumb to fit in, even though they're the dumbest. Like, it doesn't make any sense. they're like, oh, the dumber you are, the better. Well, obviously not if you're being sealed away. And what the fuck?
Then like the creature design, like they're meant to be these horrific, like alien monstrous beasts. Everyone refers to them as monsters, but they just kind of look like
they're cuties.
Yeah, like cute. Adorable. They look like something that you'd see on like 1980s Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, but their costumes did make me want to beat them to death with a hammer. The onesies.
Oh, the onesies. Yeah.
I just had a visceral reaction to those. I don't know. Do you think they had diapers? Do you think they went poo-poo in their diapers?
I don't. They were aliens, so maybe they didn't have genitalia. Maybe they're just like they can.
Does your poo-poo come out of your genitalia?
No, it does not genitalia. They didn't have rectums.
Okay.
And urethras.
So, just going through some of the actors that were wasted in this. We talked about Marty Feldman, who's third on the bill, but to be honest, I don't even think they had any decent material of him because he was just reaction shot man, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And yet the reaction shots weren't even interesting or funny. He had that Peter Lorre accent for no particular reason.
Yeah.
I am Sylvester.
Sylvester.
The butlers. You remember you advertised in the Mortician's Weekly.
A lot of it felt improvised, not in a good way.
Yeah, not in a good way. Then you had Jim Backus as the president of the United States. What major scene was that on the plane?
Is everything all right with you, Mr. President?
Yes, of course, yes.
It just seems like there's something troubling you.
So embarrassing. This airplane, Air Force One, once a symbol of a great nation, powered by chicken shit.
Was that pretty much it? There's a couple of others.
He was there with the kids, like they were talking, like interviewing the kids, and they were.
I must have been on my phone then.
Yeah.
There's
a truly
gag with a Secret Serviceman. The choreography and like everything was really bad too. Like it's so clearly like them just walking to marks in some instances. Like, and there would be like a cut and suddenly, like especially in the scene with the Secret Serviceman coming in, you know, they would draw their guns and then suddenly it would cut and they would be in a very convenient position already, like partially wrapped in a blanket or whatever hijinks they used to disarm them.
Yeah, the gags weren't elaborate. Like I was expecting to see like setups and things like, but then like one of the first scenes where they're at the hospital and Jerry Lewis falls off the side of the building. You're like, oh, there's a pool there. He might fall in the pool. Then he falls off the side of the building. That was clunky. You could just see what was about to happen. And I felt like we were watching Jerry Lewis, who's like, yeah, you guys know what you like from me. Like, it wasn't like a classic comedy scene. It was like you already have the sign off because I'm Jerry Lewis. And you'll think it's funny.
Well, there weren't any memorable scenes at all in the entire film. There was nothing memorable, was there?
I was gullible too. I feel just like you.
I mean, outside the whole film being memorably boring and a waste of talent from start to finish.
The biggest thing was in the scene with the food fight. I thought the set was horrific. It was just so pathetic. It was like student film level. They'd put up curtains around.
Yeah.
And it just looked cheap and horrible. And I would have been embarrassed if I worked on that.
Well, it has the feel of one of these mid to late 60s, psychedelic, crazy, comedies.
Yeah,
where
like
they just cut away to anything, a dog with a silly hat on and you're meant to laugh.
Well, that would be funny.
Well, yeah, I guess.
That would improve it vastly if there was a dog with a funny hat.
But I mean, I do like Jerry Lewis a lot. I mean, his films are always patchy, there's moments of, I think, genius or...
Holding the lead, follow, spirit,
just heightened comedy, and then there's moments of just saccharine, just crap in most of his films.
Cat playing with a grocery bag. Here at the podcast studio.
We can just go over little bits of info on it.
A crew. A lot of the people in the crew wound up making things that were a lot better than this.
Like what?
A couple of the model makers. One of them, Ted Ray, worked on Game of Thrones.
Things I Do for Love.
He worked on Apocalypto, Passion of the Christ. A couple of them went on to work on Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
Him and a makeup person, let me see, Steve Laporte worked on Beetlejuice, The Lost Boys, Galaxy Quest, and Battleship.
What is wrong with you?
So,
do you think these guys that went on to do more successful things just saw this movie and it really catapulted them to really work harder at their careers?
Because they didn't want to...
Because be associated. They're like, I can't be...
I question if they ever actually saw it, because in the US it took 2 years for it, after the British release anyway.
They had to know. There had to have been rumblings on the set.
I don't know. And I don't know if they always invite just like model makers to premieres. Like, why would you would really have to go out of your way, I feel like. Yeah, I rarely watch the stuff that I work on just because I have to pay for it like everyone else. So it's like, I hope they didn't see it. That would be crushing.
I can't tell you how sorry I am.
I would leave the industry if I was starting out and I saw something I worked on, it was that.
I like some of these quotes. I mean, normally we don't go on our phones. It's a big no-no, but because this film was so crushingly dull, I went on my phone and I'm looking at Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, what they said. And Siskel described it as
the single worst movie of 1984.
Saying it was
shockingly bad.
Insensitive, cruel, boring, unfunny, and cheaply made. He summed up by proposing that
from now on in these film encyclopedias, they ought to have an entry called Bad Movie, and the illustration ought to be a still photo from Slapstick of Another Kind.
The best thing that could ever happen to this film is that it
never be shown anywhere.
Ebert concurred, describing the film as
it's a very, very, very unfunny and offensive movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't always agree with them, but they were right on the dot with that one.
Yeah. I mean, it is offensive, but it is from a different time.
But
even for that time.
Yeah. Even for that time, it was like, well, that's not really funny.
Yeah, it's offensive insofar as it wastes so much talent.
Yeah.
I mean, just Marty Feldman, just not using him in that way. I wonder why he actually made the film. My guess is that he made it because he wanted to work with Jerry Lewis.
Probably. I feel like that's why a lot of people worked on this.
Yeah, because Jerry Lewis was coming out of major retirement. He'd made Hardly Working, which was a big success.
Yeah.
I think that was when was that? It was about sort of 80, 81, something like that. I know he did Smorgasbord, which also known as Cracking Up, which usually gets a bad rap, but I like it a lot. It's certainly it's like Citizen Kane compared to this.
Yeah,
I mean, it has jokes in it. It's funny. And then he did. I mean, he went on to do. Yeah, he did this, and he did King of Comedy. Trying to think other films that Lewis did around about this time. He did a whole bunch of. He did some films in France, but he was coming back into filmmaking. So it's a shame just wasting so much talent. And the director, obviously, I mean, who can we blame? Yeah, we can blame one person. The one person who wrote this, produced this, and directed it. It's Stephen Paul.
Stephen Paul, you son of a bitch.
So, who I saw in a restaurant many, many years ago, and he was pointed out as the guy who made one of the worst movies ever. Oh wow! I see that Stephen Paul produced a Bob Clark movie. Oh, Bob Clark did Super Babies, Baby Geniuses too. Oh my god!
Hold on.
Oh
Listen, don't forget you can't.
And Baby Geniuses.
You can't leave off Never Too Young to Die with Gene Simmons as an evil. Well, I'm not gonna say it.
Trade a wet kiss for this?
It's not the most
I know
correct film, but yeah, he did Baby Geniuses, The Karate Dog, Ghost Rider.
I want to see The Karate Dog.
It's gonna be good. Baby Geniuses and the Mystery of the Crown Jewels, the live-action adaptation of Ghost in the Shell, Baby Geniuses and the Space Baby. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Well, he didn't direct much, did he? After this, was it
no.
one film and that was it?
Do you think it was his fault though? Like,
yes.
You know?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
I don't care if it was or not. Like I'm going to blame him.
I'm just wondering because of all the people involved, if like the studio got a heavy hand and like, or these are our ideas, do them, and then when it didn't work out, they're like, oh, why didn't your ideas work? And he's like, you told me I had to do it, like that kind of thing. But I feel like you would have heard that.
But it was independently produced.
So it was him.
Yeah, he produced
He
it.
produced it, so
it was his money.
So what you said is correct.
I think he got the money. Yeah.
Yeah, what you said is correct. But it was him telling himself that these ideas, and then asking why didn't your ideas work. And then he was like, I don't know myself.
Oh well, look. Executive producers Hank Pole. Is that probably his dad or brother?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe his brother. I don't know. Dad.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, because I feel like they wouldn't have let him make all these mistakes, like all the people involved. Like, what I would feel like, you know, Madeline Kahn and Jerry Lewis and Marty Feldman, they would be interested in, like, how's it looking? What's the edit like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anecdote, just as an anecdote from, you know, the one time that I saw him in a restaurant, the person I was with, they pretty much put the blame on him. You know, that was an industry. It was understood in the industry that it was all
the
Stephen
director.
Pole's
Oh,
fault.
okay.
Yeah. That was my take from that. So we're going to end by just big thumbs down, Siskel and Ebert style.
No, watch it. You know,
no, don't watch
if you want to punish yourself. If you like being bored, if you like seeing like comedy-ish, like watch
comedy-ish?
Like, you know, comedy but not really. Like it's just kind of halfway there. Like
okay.
Like is this is part of a joke? Here you go.
Or if you really like the poster, buy the DVD
and never watch it,
and have that on your shelf, and then just play it. I think it's a film that you could honestly. I think it's a great film to play with the volume down while you're having a party, because you're never going to need to watch it any other way.
No,
that's the perfect way to watch it. You know, like other films, you're sort of spoiling it because it's a good film.
Yeah,
it's visually interesting. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So I think that's a perfect way. So anyhow, that was a waste of 1 hour 25 minutes.
But we were together, so that was
time. Yeah, and we had pizza and whatever.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Played footsie.
Yeah. All right. So a goodbye from
Jared,
Nick,
and Miles. See you all and hear you all and be nice and see you next time.
What he said.
Whatever.
This is the President of the United States. Second most powerful and richest nation in the whole world. Say, Mama.
Would you like some apple cider, Mr. President?
Is this all there is to drink in the house?